So, oh man, I want to talk about dreams again. So I remember, I'm somebody who believes that God will speak to us through our dreams. Some of us a lot more than others, I think. But I also think that dreams, like I said in yesterday's video, can just be torments from the other side. I mentioned when I first got clean and sober, it was so crazy. After about like 3 months, started my career, and I started at the second machine shop that I ever worked at, because I worked at one in between semesters, my second and third I think it was. That was Alliance. But when I started at Adept Manufacturing, I had these 3 dreams. They were using dreams. They all happened within the span of about a month. The first week of that month I had the first one, and it was about being like offered drugs, and I was with a group of people that I've never met before, never seen before, and there was drugs going around. Then I woke up. It was vague, but I remember the gist of it. Then within a few days, like 3 to 5 days, I was at the gas station. I think I was on my way to school for some reason. I can't remember why, but I was driving Sylvia's car, and I was at the gas station. It was the one, there's this, I think is it a BP? It's right at the intersection of Burnham and Beloit, across the street from the liquor store, before the train tracks, before 60th Street. I think it's Lincoln and Beloit when they intersect. In between the intersection, across from the liquor store, there is a BP, I think it is. I think that's the gas station. But there's a gas station. And I pulled in there. And this drug dealer rolled up on me, next to me, and he was like, "Hey, white boy, you party?" It's always that phrase, every time. It's so ignorant and stupid. "Hey, white boy, you party?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." And I drove off, and then he drove off, and then he pulled up next to me at the red light. And he's like, "Are you sure? Not even weed?" And I was like, "No, man, not even weed. I don't do anything." And drove off. And then we got to another stoplight by Miller Parkway it was at. And he was like, "Man, are you sure? Are you sure I got that good?" And I was like, "No, man, I'm good." Like, I had to tell this guy 3 times. And like, at that time, I had started getting very, like, a little arrogant about myself, about my looks and my progress and a lot of other things. And I'm very surprised I didn't, on that 3rd time, snap. But I didn't. And I was like, "No, man, I'm good, no." He drove off, took a left to get on the freeway. I shot down. Kept shooting down to go towards MATC. Then, I'd say around another week later, I had another dream where I was around a group of people that I did not know. And drugs were being passed around yet again. Almost the same dream, just different faces, all people that I didn't know. A little bit different scenario, circumstance, but same meaning, same general feel and situation. Yet again, and then after that, like, I started working at Adept Manufacturing, and I can't remember why I went to school during that first situation. I think I was going there to get something. I can't remember what it was, but I started at Adept, and on my way back from Adept, I think it was, a drug dealer rolled up on me. It was on the way back. I was walking up Beloit next to McCarty Park, going towards Capri Pizza. A drug dealer rolls up to me. "Hey, white boy, you party?" Same phrase. Literally, same phrase, word for word. "Hey, white boy, you party?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." And he's like, I got that good white girl." And I was like, "I'm good, man, I'm good." And he's like, "All right," and drove off, right, nice and easy. And then like a week or so later, I had another dream. Same scenario, different people around a group of people offering drugs, passing around drugs, doing drugs, right? Like, these 3 dreams were very similar. It's just the people and the faces changed every time, although they were always silhouetted and shadowy. Like, I couldn't really see their actual image, but they were people. It's just their faces were shrouded and part of their being was shrouded, right? Same situation though. Then a few days later, that third dream though, I specifically remember the only drug being passed around was weed. People were passing around blunts and THC carts, I think it was. I was walking home past McCarty, and I looked down and suddenly I saw this full tank of THC juice, just full, unused, basically brand new. Somebody must have dropped it somehow. And like, I looked down and I stepped right over it and I was like, not this time. And that's when I started realizing I'm having foreshadowing in my dreams. Like, something really spiritual and strange and interesting is happening here. Like, this isn't, I don't believe in minor I don't believe in coincidence. Even the tiny things I think happen for a reason. I'm not a believer in coincidence. Maybe minor coincidence I believe in, but nothing past that. And it was all very, very too coincidental to me, right? Then, the next month, I had a dream, and it was a dream about somebody reappearing in my life. I don't know who it was. I didn't recognize the person or anything, didn't know who it was, right? And I woke up from the dream. This person reappeared in my life and we were doing drugs together. I don't know who it was. I just knew and had the feel that it was somebody I knew from my past. And I woke up from it, and within a week, again, I had just made a Facebook recently because I started getting into the church again and my Bible, and I had truly became saved for the first time. Like, I had never been saved before that, but after I got clean and sober that first time around and truly took my sobriety seriously and my life seriously, I got saved. And anyways, I made a Facebook so I could kind of just, update and talk with some of the people from the church. And it was the first time I had a Facebook or any form of social media since 2016. And this was in about 2023 or 2022 now. Like, first time in 6 or 7 years, because I swore off of social media. I hated all the drama and the stupidity and the shadow banning and all the censoring that was going on and just how crazy all of it got. And then the political landscape changed a lot in 2016. It was a fake change, there's a fake shift. It's all part of the comedy act that both sides put on, but a shift nonetheless, right? So there was a lot of drama, especially on social media, and I deleted everything, got sick of it, right? But I made one to keep up with church people and, kind of try it out again. And after I had that dream, within a week, somebody from my past reached out from social media asking if I wanted to hang out. And I said, "No, man, I'm good. I can't do that." And I remembered the dream and the dreams that I had been having the last 30 to 45 days. And I was like, no, that was another indicator. When I had the third dream, I realized what was happening. So then when I had the fourth one, I knew something else was coming, right? And it did. This person tried to pop back in my life, and I said no. Then, about a week later, I had another dream, right? And this time, I was trapped in some kind of facility, right? And I was running away from the occupants of the facility. I don't think they were creatures. I think they were people. And I'm pretty sure now, looking back at it, they were people from my past that I have been shutting down and keeping, purposely. One of the other reasons why I don't like social media that much is because I don't want to be found. I like to be hard to find. I don't want to be found easily. I have forsaken that now that I have a Facebook again. But even my Facebook name back in the day was just a bunch of random letters. It wasn't my real name. It was like NGVCNB, BNCB or something like that. It was just random letters. Because I don't want to be found. I don't like being found easily. And it's mainly for the specific reason of people from the past trying to reconnect that I don't want to have anything to do with. But I had this dream, and I was running from these people from my past, I believe, in this facility. And I made it to this elevator, and I got on, and there was this guy in there. And I could tell that he worked at the facility. And he was like, "Hey, I'll help you get out of here. Follow me." And we took the elevator down into this parking structure, basement area. And we got off, and we started walking, right? And he's like, "Here, keep walking forward." And he started walking behind me, and which I also think is significant. And I saw these like pools of slime on the ground, right? They were very hard to see. They almost blended in with the color of the concrete, like they weren't green. But I got the feeling that it was like the indication that it was slime of some sort, right? And I was like, what the heck? And I accidentally stepped both feet into one of the puddles, and I felt like it was quicksand and like I was going down. And I was about to step back, and the guy who was helping me get out of there grabbed onto me from behind and started dragging me down with the slime and with himself. And his name was Jerry. Somehow I knew his name was Jerry. I've never known a Jerry, but for some reason this guy's name was Jerry. And I was like, "Jerry, stop dragging me down," which is what I named the dream when I logged it in the recovery app years ago when it happened. Because that's how I connected with my counselor, Rhonda, at the time. And I woke up as I was getting drugged down within a week. Somebody from Facebook, who used to be an actual friend before they became a using buddy, which often happens with your group of friends once drug addiction in the drug realm enters your circle. Well, that's what happens. You forsake friendships and become using buddies, right? For the most part, at least. And one of those old people who I was friends with, and like they invited me to a cookout at their place, and wanted me to come over and meet their other half or whatever, and yada yada yada. And I was like, "No offense, man, but I can't. I got things going for me. I'm doing really well. I just got out of school, kicked off my career. I'm clean and sober for the first time in my life from everything. Like it's no offense to you, but I won't risk it. It's me, dude. I'm extra careful." And they were cool with it. So I had these dreams, these 5 dreams, all within like a 2-month span, I would say. All of them followed by events that mimicked the dreams, right? Then I had this other dream. I think it was in the beginning of my 3rd semester or something. Or no, it was still in my... No, this was after school too. No, this was... Okay, so I was working at a depth still, I think. But I was thinking about going over to a different place because the guy training me, which was the boss, just trained me too fast and he wouldn't slow down. He was a good guy and everything, he just wouldn't slow his training down. And I had this dream. Wait, no, this one didn't happen in this time frame. Let me re-speak on this. This actually did happen, I think, during my 2nd semester. Or my 3rd, maybe even. But while I was going to school, and I can't remember if it was during school or during when I was working at a depth. Nope, this was when I was working at a depth, because this was the 5th one. This was the last dream. Yes. Okay, sorry. I've had a lot of dreams over my time at school, and especially after I got clean and sober, so sometimes I get a little mixed up. I could go on and on for probably an hour talking about dreams that were followed by real life occurrences. But like, I had this dream, and I was in this beautiful like school, college, like church or something like that, mausoleum. It was beautiful. I think it was a school, but see, was I in school during this time? I can't remember if this dream was when I was in school or not. But anyways, this is just another example, right? I was in this school, and it was so beautiful, like these marble floors, marble pillars, these like beautiful laminated wood of oak and cedar walls and stuff. It was beautiful, huge hallways. Like, I'd never seen anything like this place. And I was walking through it, and I went into this room, and there was just a bunch of people talking, right? And somehow I made my way to the center of all the people in the center of the room. And like I was looking around, and all of a sudden I noticed everybody went silent. And then I noticed everybody was gazing at me. All their attention shifted to me, and everybody was looking at me. Then I noticed that these weren't people, or they were people, but they were like disfigured. When I first walked in, they looked like normal people, but then when I noticed the silence and then noticed that everybody's attention was on me, I looked at all their faces, and they were all disfigured, and their bodies were like disfigured and stuff. And as soon as I noticed that, they all lunged at me, like the whole group of people, and I was in the center, just came and enclosed on me. And they started pulling me in different directions, like they were trying to rip me apart or something. And somehow I like broke free and like kind of scooted down to the ground and dove and kind of avoided all their grasp. And I broke out of the crowd of all the hands and bodies and stuff. And I ran into the hallway, and I took off running, and I looked back, and these people they couldn't catch me, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm fast. And I looked back again, and they were still further behind me. Then I looked back one more time, and this short, stubby, but the most ugly, deformed one of them all, like this creature, person, whatever, had one leg that was longer than the other, had one arm that was longer than the other, severely disfigured in the face, like the dude from the Goonies, the guy that they find, I forget what his name is, but really disfigured like that, but worse, right? Incredibly fast. He just broke out of the group, and I was like, holy crap, how is this whatever running that fast, even though they're lopsided and one leg is smaller than the other by a lot, not just by a little too. Like these limbs were severely disproportionate. This whole person's body was severely disproportionate. Yeah, they ran with like this demonic speed. And I looked back, and they catching up, and I started running as fast as I could. And I looked back again, he was even closer, and I looked back the third time, and he grabbed onto me. And like I couldn't break free, and I was struggling to break free, and all of a sudden I woke up. And that dream, so at this time from my period of going to school to up until that point, up until the point of like me getting clean and really getting into my health and working out and my image and all that, I got very arrogant about my looks. I started thinking that I can get anybody I want, any woman I want, without even trying. Like, I get hit on, I always get asked out, which is true, like it's very common, but I let it go to my head because I was getting very physically fit for the first time in my life too, and getting very healthy, and like my ego got inflated, right? And I started believing that I'm very good looking, and I am handsome, and I've been blessed with good genetics, good genes, good health, good looks. Despite all the drugs I've done, I look great. I have a great body. I have good tone. I can't get huge, but I'm cut really nicely, especially when I get back into my working out like I have recently. Like, I look good already, and like it really went to my head though, and I got very egotistical about being able to get any woman I want without even trying, and not even having to pursue them ever, them just coming after me. And if I ever actually went out and pursued them, I would get them left and right and got it. Like, it went to my head. And I knew instantly when I woke up from that dream. I logged it in the recovery app with my counselor, Rhonda. And like, I knew exactly what it was about. It was about me being egotistical, and that creature was me. Or it was my ugliness, right, and my sin. That whole room was a bunch of other people that were going through, like, feeling that egotisticalness and getting overinflated with their egos and how they felt about themselves, and getting really, really full of themselves, right? I was full of a room of those people. I didn't notice it at first. They all looked beautiful, like me at first. Like, they looked great, like perfect almost when I think about it. But then when it went silent and their attention went to me, they all turned ugly. And then when I ran out of there and that one caught up to me, like, that was my reflection of my ugliness on the inside, of how I was viewing myself, how I was getting so inflated with my ego. And like, I instantly knew it, and I was like, I need to humble myself about this, because this is not cool what I've Like, it's cool to realize that you're handsome, that you're good looking, that you have good genes, good health, good genetics, like, in those regards, right? It's fine to realize those things, and it's fine to realize that, I don't ever have to ask out women, that they do always come to me. Like, that's cool. It's cool to understand that, but to blow it out of proportion and get overinflated over it and thinking you can get anyone at any time and whatever, like, that's not cool. That's prideful and arrogant and stupid, and that's how I was getting about myself. And that thing catching up to me was his way of letting me know, just like all the other dreams do, you are getting way too full of yourself. You need to tone it down before you crash and burn. And there's many different ways that can crash and burn. I could lose my looks in an accident. I could hurt myself working out. Like, all kinds of stuff could have happened, right? I could get in a bad relationship and lose my health and become a drug addict again, or just stop taking care of myself. Like, things happen when things go bad, right? Like, it's easy to lose yourself again and lose your progress. That's the most easy thing you can do in life, is lose all your progress and just stop doing what you're doing, and even just start doing the opposite. Like, that's the easiest thing a person can do, especially when things get hard. And like, that was a warning. And then, not last night, but the night before, yesterday, when I made that video about the dreams I was having, how in the last month I've had at least 12 to 15 dreams about my former and her children, like literally every other night, sometimes every night. But how the night before last was the worst one of them all. How I felt so, I explained in the video how bad I felt when I woke up. How I didn't understand it because I hadn't reflected on the dream yet with a clear head, right? So I'm not going to go through how I felt, but I'll describe the dream again a little bit. Trapped in a dormitory / school put together with like an apartment or house attached to it as well, right? Living with these students is what it was. I wasn't trapped in there. I was living there. And I wasn't trapped with these people. I was going to school with these people, but I happened to be living on the campus, but also I was with my former again, and she was there. Attached to the building was her apartment or her house or whatever it was, right? And we got back together, and then we broke up, right? And then I started wandering through the place trying to get out of it, trying to find my way out. But then I thought to myself, I want to find the kids and tell them goodbye one last time, say I love you, and hear them say they love me like they would say. Like, I wanted to hear it one more time and say goodbye and say that I'm sorry it didn't work between me and your mother. Sorry, it's not your girls' fault. That's on me and her. It's our fault, not you girls. You did nothing wrong. Like, and I found them, and we said our goodbyes and our I love yous and hugged, and then I went off, right? And all of that happened within the span of 3 dreams, within like, I'd say a 2-hour period, because I wasn't sleeping. I was going into a half sleep, having the dreams within like 20 minutes, waking up for about 20 minutes, then falling back into a very partial half sleep, having the dream again, but it's progressing, and then repeating that over and over, right? And I did that over like a 3-4 hour period. And then I had, all of that was over 3 dreams. Then I had the 4th one that night. And that was the one where I was walking on the freeway. And I was walking on the freeway with these students, and the freeway was empty. And I recognized it as the freeway by Miller Parkway here in Milwaukee. Like, I knew where I was. I knew exactly where I was. I knew it by sight, by landscapes. Everything was recognizable. I knew exactly where I was. I was coming around the loop, going back into West Allis near Miller Parkway, coming out of the downtown / north side area, right? I was coming around this loop, and in the dream, we got to this part of the freeway that got really thin, and all of us students bottlenecked with each other, right? And bumped against each other. And somehow I got squeezed to the front of the group and pushed forward, and all of a sudden I was at least a good few hundred feet in front of the rest of the students who were in a group. And I suddenly, like I said yesterday in the video, I just got frustrated and I lost it and I started screaming out loud, I can't take this, I can't do this, I'm sick of faking my happiness, I can't do this happiness bull, and I can't fake this anymore. I am not happy, I'm miserable, I can't stand life, I can't stand what's happening, I can't take it anymore, I'm done. And I walked over to the edge of the freeway, like I said, and peered over the edge, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely far enough. And then I took a few steps back and kind of did a little jog and jumped, hopped, and came to the ground, and I was like, yep, I'm ready. And then I heard those students say, oh, he's gonna jump. And I turned around and I started walking to the middle of the freeway intersection, and I got to it and I turned around, and then I started bolting for the edge, and I ran as quick as I could, just going. And all of a sudden that little girl just out of nowhere, I don't know how she got there, it was like she just manifested right in front of me, just 10 feet in front of me while I was at a full sprint, and it stopped me dead in my tracks, and she's like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And it stopped me, and I woke up and just woke up with that dark cloud and that darkness. I felt so miserable. It ruined my whole morning, like I said yesterday. But anyways, so when I was getting off of work yesterday, I think it was at 2:44 around that time, about 16 minutes before I got off of work, Jake texted me and he's like, when do you get off of work? And at 3:01 or something like that, I texted him back and I was like, now. And he's like, can I call you? And I was like, oof, my battery's under 10%, which it was. It's on battery saver. I don't want it to die. And I was telling him how I know that if I get back with Serena, it's a terrible idea. It will dang it, I didn't want to say her name. How I get back with my former, it's a terrible idea, that it will ruin my life, that I know that what these dreams are telling me are not to do it, that I'll lose everything I've worked for, that it's just not meant to be between us. But then I went on a little rant about it, and then I said, sorry dude, I didn't mean to go on a rant over. He's like, it's okay. And then he's like, I think your dream is telling a story. What do you think? Who do you think the student is? And who do you think that little girl is? And then my phone was about to die, so I couldn't say anything. But it clicked in my head 3 seconds later. I was sitting on the bus and I was like, oh my holy moly, dude. And I said it out loud and I just started giggling to myself. And I was like, that's crazy. Because right after he said it, it came to me. I saw it clearly. I was like, the student is me. That's me. And that little girl, that's my future. That's my future family. That's a piece of my future family. I've always wanted a daughter first and foremost, more than a son. But it just came to me clearly, and I was like, whoa, that was a piece of my future daughter, in all likelihood, telling me. Because in the dream I had an indication that it was somebody's daughter, but it wasn't my former's daughter, but it was somebody's daughter. I knew that, I just didn't know how, and that was boggling my mind all day as I thought about it at work, which I had an awesome day at work. It was a great day. And then it came to me that she was warning me not to rush my family, that if I do that, I will lose everything. And not only will I lose all my progress and all my schooling and all my hard work working, but I'll lose my life over it. I will jump off that bridge. It will kill me. If I rush it and get back with this person, it's going to kill me. And I won't get her. I won't get the future that I'm working. One of the reasons why I'm working hard is for that. And that if I'm just patient and keep doing the right things, my righteous desires will come to pass in time. And that's what she was telling me. That's why she was saying, don't do it. It wasn't just not to jump. It was to not rush back into something out of my desperation, not to be alone and to have my own family finally, and to just take it slowly and breathe. Dreams, I'm telling you guys, they have meaning. more than half the time. And it's not just like random meaning, but like sometimes it's torments from the other side, but oftentimes even when their nightmares are perceived as negative or harsh or just hard to deal with, like oftentimes, like I swear he's speaking to me, like he's trying to tell me something. And it's been proven time and time again in the last few years, and I swear this is just another occasion. So I was just wondering if any of you ever have dreams that like are indicators and just more than coincidence, like it means something. Like I swear there's something special about dreams and spiritual. A lot of the time it's crazy. I just wanted to share that and was hoping some people could relate.